Hello, good evening. I know this is Coffee in the Card Friday, and I had cards for troops at the coffee shop this morning. So I was unable to do this morning, and I was thinking of maybe doing this afternoon. And then it turned out I had to go to the Apple store to take my computer in because I had issues. So I couldn't do this afternoon. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to do evening. Hopefully kick off your weekend with you tonight. And I hope you are having some great weekend plans. Might include stamping. And I hope that you had a great week. So I'm glad to see some people are already joining on. I'll wait a little bit. We'll say hello. Don't forget to check in and say a quick hello for people who are watching live. And if you are not watching live and catching the replay, that's great too. I really appreciate that. You can still write comments, and I plan to go back and check all of those as well. I always try to respond to everybody who's been on. So yeah, hi Debbie, nice to see you. Are you drinking Diet Coke tonight? Okay, I don't even have my beverage with me tonight. Probably could use some water, but that's okay. I'll manage. Hi, Lydia. Daisy Bunch. Woohoo! Nice to see my friends on here. Hi, Kathy. Welcome. All right. We are going to be doing a panoramic card tonight. Some of you who have been following me might have seen this before, and it's always good to go back and revisit some of the layouts that we've done already. Hi, Suzanne. Nice to see you on tonight. I love seeing the old layouts with new products. So even though you might say, oh yeah, I've seen that before, seeing it with new products kind of spurs you on again, gives a little incentive to try it again. Or maybe you said, oh yeah, I've forgotten about that. So it's good to revisit again. So we have some great designer paper that has scenes on it. There is Thoughtful Journey. It has these beautiful, beautiful watercolor type scenes. I've used a lot of them already, as you can see. And we have, let me put that back there. We have Meandering Meadow, which was one of the first of these. It has these gorgeous floral prints here. The path, I just love those. Oh my gosh. Daisies or black-eyed Susans. That's the Maryland state flower. I love them. Love them. So these are beautiful. And then, of course, we have Splendid Autumn, which I'm using a lot of because it is autumn. And I figure I may as well use it while it's in season. These I can use into the spring. So I'm not too worried about using these up right away, but I am making sure I'm using up my Splendid Autumn. I tend to hoard. How many of you hoard your paper? Give me a thumbs up or a heart. Yep. If we hoard our paper because it's too pretty to use, right? Hi, Julie. Nice to see you. Whoa. I got to meet Julie in Utah last week. So let me tell you about where I was last week. All right. I got to visit my friend Karen. We've been friends for a couple of years online. We've been emailing and texting and Zooming for about 2 years. And then she decided to join the Daisy Bunch team as a demonstrator under me. That was back in May. And we've just been befriended each other. We're like souls, and we've just kind of hit it off very well. So we were trying to find a time to meet up, and she said, why don't you come be my guest? My husband and me would love to have you and your husband come visit us in Utah. And I said, are you sure? She said, yes. So off we went. We went to Utah for a week to meet for the first time. And some people were saying to her, well, you're really brave to have people you don't know stay at your house. And okay, we were kind of, somebody might have said we were brave too, to go someplace that we didn't know for a week. But Karen and I just knew we were going to hit it off, and we were great. We had a great time. Karen and Stan were the best hosts ever. We got to go to Zion. We got to meet Julie, who came down from Salt Lake City to meet us, and we went to Stampin' Up! Production facility, saw where stamps were made, how ink pads were filled, how the ink refills were processed, how paper was cut. It was a great tour. Got to see that. We did some hiking, and Karen and Stan and my husband and I, we all went out to dinner. We got to tour some state parks. We just had a fabulous time. Absolutely great. So I just, it's a trip I will never forget. It was very, very special. So it's amazing how our craft, how Stampin' Up! Has brought us together, and many of you probably have similar stories, how stamping and our crafting has brought some people together, has been our therapy, has done fabulous things for us. And I'm just happy to share that with you as well. And I am so blessed to have so many of you following as well. So anyway, so nice to see you. Hi, Kathy. And who did I miss? Anybody else? I said Debbie and Lydia. All right, great. Lori Staley and I did the same thing. All right, went to PA from Vermont to meet her and husband. Wonderful friendship. Okay, yeah, great, Debbie. Oh, that's wonderful. If you ever make it down to Maryland, make sure you let me know, okay? And vice versa if we get up to Vermont. It's amazing. It's just amazing. So anyway, thank you for joining me tonight. And we are going to do 2 different ways to do a panoramic card. One's super easy. The next one is something I've done before. In fact, I have the YouTube video of it from 2 years ago. So I'm going to put that link under this video in the comments, and you can go back and look at that one to see what I did with it in the past. And I'm going to do a new one with you today. So let's start easy, right? All right. Let me know who's stamping along. Anybody crafting along? Okay, if you are, you can start with half a sheet of cardstock, which is 5.5 by 8.5, and score it at 4 1/4. That's going to be your card base, okay? Whether it's white or whisper white, I mean, not whisper white, basic white. It used to be whisper white. Basic white or very vanilla, whatever works with your DSP. So that's going to be your card base. I'll go slow because I know I didn't give you all the measurements, so you're probably cutting as we go along. You will also need a piece of cardstock that's colored, that's going to be your layer. And your layers are 4 by 5 1/4. Okay. And you need a sheet of 6 by 6 designer series paper. Now I'm going to do a panoramic, so that's why I chose one that has a scene, but you don't have to have something that's a scene. You can certainly do the same layout with a card that with DSP that just has different patterns. Just you might want to choose 4 different patterns that coordinate. And I'll show you one of those in a minute after I do this. Okay, so you need your trimmer. Mine here. I'm going to expand my overhead camera so you can see better what I'm doing. And I've seen this before, but I was reminded by my friend in downline, Judy Fortin, and we actually cut a lot of these patterns to do for Cards for Troops because it's so easy. My Cards for Troops, I like to choose things that are easy to do so that we can make a lot in a short amount of time. Okay, hi Lorraine. Well, nice to see you on today. Okay, probably getting some different people that can't make it on in the morning. So that's kind of nice. All right, especially maybe some people who are overseas where it's like 12, 14 hours earlier, right? Okay, so let me show you where we're headed first so that you know how to cut your paper. So these are some that I made. These are going to be my thank you cards for my customers this month. So spoiler alert, if you were a customer, you're getting one of these. So I took the Thoughtful Journey, and we are going to cut a wide strip, one that's a little smaller, one that's a little smaller, and one that's a little smaller. I'll give you the measurements in a minute. Okay, so notice these are consecutive. We're going to start with one size and then just cut them into strips, separate them slightly so that they look like 4 separate panels. So you can see how it works with any of the designs. And then all you need to do is add a sentiment of some kind. So I just took some of my leftover 1/2-inch strips, or you can use 1/4-inch strips, whatever. If you're like me, you have a lot of strips, especially with white, because I cut them down for layers, and then you're left with that 1/2-inch or 1/4-inch. So you can see how any of these patterns work, right? So I just took my long strips, stamped my sentiment several times, and I cut them on an angle just to give them a little bit more interest, raise them up with dimensionals. And then with the scenes, you notice you'll want to put them in a strategic place where you're not covering up a lot of the interesting parts of the scenes. Like this more plain sky, I would put this one up here, or down here, perhaps. Okay, so you're not covering up the more interesting flowers or trees. So let me show you how to cut that up. Okay, so we are going to start with, you have your 6x6, decide where you want your panoramic scene to be. I don't want to necessarily cut here and just have the flowers. I want to get some of this background in there with the trees and the sky as well. So we want this to be 3 3/4 inch tall. So I'm going to measure from the top down, and that would take me to about here. All right, so if for some reason, if you wanted less on the top and more on the bottom, then you might want to trim a little off the top, but decide which of the 3 3/4 inch tall that you want, and then cut your designer paper accordingly. So if I cut here, I would still get some of those flowers, those really, really pretty flowers. I might want to cut just a shade off the top here so I could get more of those flowers. I want to keep the trees, so I might just cut a little bit off so that I can get a little bit more of the flowers below. That is even less than 1/4 inch. So now when I turn it around this way, I'll cut to 3 3/4. Okay, so I think that's kind of balanced. That's nice there. All right, then the width, we want 4 3/4. So this is pretty enough. I can still use this on another card. So I'll leave that off to the side. 4 3/4 wide. So again, decide, which side you want it. If I cut it here, that's kind of in the center, which is fine. Okay, maybe if you want it off center, decide how you want it. Kind of frame it in your eye. So 4 3/4. So your end piece is going to be 3 3/4 tall and 4 3/4 wide. Okay. Hello, Karen. I miss you, my friend. I was just telling everybody about our visit. Wonderful, wonderful time. Okay, so remember, we have our card base, typical card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Fold that in half. I've already burnished it with my bone folder. Your layer is a typical layer of 4 by 5 1/4. Now we're going to cut this into panels and separate them so that there's a little space in between each one. And how I chose this color, I want to bring out the color wheel. Now, you might have seen in the back of the annual catalog, there is a color wheel pictured on one of the back pages. You can't manipulate it, but you can kind of see all the colors there, and it describes about different color combinations that you can make: analogous, complementary colors, monochromatic, triadic. But here's some good news. Demonstrators can order this now because we get to order things about a month earlier than customers. So that means that customers are going to be able to order the color wheel in November. So that's exciting news. If you are interested in getting it sooner, well, then sign up as a demonstrator. There's a great deal going on right now where you get $155 worth of product for only $99. That includes free shipping and all the other perks about being a demonstrator. I'll talk about that another time. So anyway, so you'll get this color wheel that will help you find some colors. So in looking at this, I'm seeing mostly a lot of Highland Heather. So I take this little window here that says complementary, and if I put the Highland Heather someplace within that little window slot, I can look on the other side and see what colors are complementary that will work nicely with Highland Heather. Now, of course, you could just use your own eye and your own, what looks good to you. But if you have trouble with that, the wheel is a good tool to have. So if I'm looking for something that's complementary to Highland Heather, I can look across here and I'm seeing crushed curry, wild wheat, daffodil delight, lemon lolly. These are all the Stampin' Up! Colors, of course. So I'm moving it, even if I move it this way and Highland Heather is on the far end of the wheel, I can see colors that are complementary. I can also see colors that are in the triadic. So if you kind of choose, if you want looking for 3 colors, you can see colors that are within there as well. So as I'm moving the complementary along, I'm heading a little bit more toward the greens over here. So even though what I chose, Old Olive, wasn't exactly in the complementary window, it still is in the triadic window. So that means they kind of still go together. And when I was looking at this, I didn't want to do too much of the Highland Heather because there's a lot of it on my designer paper anyway. But I was looking at the greens and there is a lot of Old Olive in there. So that's why I chose that as my background. So it shows some contrast. Okay, so I'm going to pull out this wheel every once in a while to kind of show you ways to use it. Okay, so now you want your trimmer. We're going to cut this into 4 panels. This is the real quick, easy way to make a panoramic card. Save your bits and pieces for other cards for another time. So again, we are left with 3 3/4 tall, 4 3/4 wide. So holding it the long ways, we're going to cut 1 3/4 on this side, and then 1 1/4, and then 1 3/4. Okay, so if I'm cutting from this side, I like cutting this way first. So the Stampin' Up! Trimmer has up to 1.5 inches on the right side of the cutting channel. So I like to hold my bigger piece on the left and then cut the smaller piece on the right. So that means I'm going to cut 3/4 of an inch off of this side. Okay, and I'm going to make sure I keep those in order. The next one from the right is going to be 1 inch, and I still have that 1 inch over here. It's easier to hold this side with the bigger part. I know it's not going to slip away. All right, so that's 1 inch. 3/4, 1 inch. I'm going to do 1 1/4. I still have room on my right-hand side because it goes up to 1 1/2. So 1 1/4. And then what I'm left with is 1 3/4. Okay. So I don't even have to cut anymore. And I'm going to leave those right in order. I'm going to glue them to my card base. So when you glue them down, you want to leave equal amounts of borders on the top and the bottom and the left. So I like to start with the outside ones first, and then I could fit the middle ones in equally. Okay, so let's glue those down. Okay, hi, Tina. Hi from Tina. Okay. Then I'll do, like I said, I'll do the outside ones because that's outside border, top, bottom, and the left. And then the one on the right is what your eye will see the most, I believe. You want to kind of get those the straightest and equal. And then the others can fit right in the middle like that. And I like to glue them at the same time with liquid glue. Have a little wiggle room before it completely dries and sticks. So you can move it around a little bit. Make sure it's straight. Okay, see what I mean? You have a little wiggle room. Just don't put your glue too close to the edge, because otherwise you'll end up with some stickiness in between. And if you do have that stickiness, use an adhesive eraser to just kind of rub it away. All right, that's it. And then we glue that to our card front over here, or you can pop it up with dimensionals, whatever you like. Oops, getting a little crazy there. Okay, hi Joanne, nice to see you. Okay. So then all you need, like I did on those others I showed you, all you need is some kind of sentiment to put on there someplace. You can use a strip, you can use label punch, whatever you want to put your sentiment on. And of course, if you felt you needed some die cuts, you can do that too. So look how easy that was. So just cutting wide, narrow, narrow, and narrower all the way down. So again, that's 1 3/4, 1 1/4, 1, and then 3/4. And you've got that nice little panoramic card right there. Let me show you another design that I chose, and I'll show you. I was looking at this DSP, and I said, oh yeah, balmy blue. Look how pretty and nice and soft that would be, right? I love this one. It looks like Queen Anne's lace maybe, or something snowy. I don't know. But so then I was looking at the color wheel. I said, okay, I have to think out of the box a little bit. And I looked over I put my complementary over on balmy blue, and the complementary colors brought me to the oranges. And of course, in here, there are some orange colors. I said, all right, I would not necessarily think to put this on orange, but let me see. So when I have the balmy blue on the far left here, it brought me to pumpkin pie. I said, well, let me just see what that looks like. And you know what? I like it. So that kind of pointed me to thinking in a way that I would not have thought of myself. Okay, so that I think looks really, really neat. And that would go on there. And of course, just needs a little sentiment. If you wanted to put a twine or a ribbon across, of course, do it before you put this layer down. But look how nice that looks with orange, right? Okay, so like I said, gives you some different inspiration. I'm not going to take time to glue that down right now. And now here is the same card without a panoramic, but just with the 24-26 in color designer paper. So this has all the new in colors, the same patterns in all of the colors. So I don't have full sheets of the Petunia Pop anymore, but I took Petunia Pop and I took the two different patterns. There are 2 sheets, pattern on each side, and then other patterns on the other side. So you have 4 different patterns in each color. So that's what I took for here. I took the flowers and leaves. The flip side of that is the stripes. Then this side is that, I don't know what to call that pattern. We'll call it a diamond shape, I guess. And then on the other side are the circles. So just took that, 4 different patterns, and same design. And then I took my hexagon punch, and instead of putting hello friend right in the middle, I decided to offset it. The hello friend, by the way, is from the Charming Duck Pond. I thought that was big enough, but not so big that it's going to take up the whole hexagon punch. So I wanted to offset it a little bit to leave room for a bow. So of course, all the in colors have the designer paper to match, as well as this ribbon. So this is called bordered ribbon, comes in all the in colors. So the way I make my bows to just glue on, if I'm not tying it onto something, I do what I call bunny ears. I make 2 loops, and you have to leave a little bit of space in between so that you can crisscross them and push one of those loops through from the back. You need room to kind of grab it. And then from there, just start to pull it. Of course, it's going to look kind of wonky. And then you just kind of adjust it from there. Pull the ends so that the loops are smaller than you want, because when you pull it tight, they're going to get bigger. And then just keep adjusting it until it's the size that you want. And then I think that looks good. I'm going to trim my edges. I'm going to put that on there, and that really finishes the card up nicely, so it doesn't look quite so plain. And then, of course, we'll put that on with glue dots. I think that looks so sweet. Okay, so I like to fold back the tape that has a glue dot on it, stick your object, whatever you're gluing, to the dot and pull it off. Now, because this is a little heavier, I'm going to put a dot on either side of this bow as well, just to make sure it's going to be on nice and securely. Hi, Joan. Late but here. You don't have to apologize. I'm glad you're here, Joan. That's fine. I'm glad. Okay. So there we are. Oops. Isn't that sweet? So same exact layout. Oh, here's my box. But a totally different looking card, right? Just the same cuts. Right, thank you, Lisa. Hi. Hi, Suzanne. Oh, good. I'm glad you love that. Okay, so I will put the measurements in a post after the live tonight. All right, but I wanted to kind of tell you them as I went along. All right, because when I was posting, I wasn't home and I didn't have them with me. So there we go. That's that. And here's the same card, just with some older DSP that I've done before. And this sentiment was done with the double oval punch that is now retired. Too bad. I loved that one. So you can just add any kind of sentiment that you like on there, whether it's a tag or a die cut or whatever. All right, so now on to the more, the one that takes a little bit more work, but you know, it's going to be worth it. It's not that bad, really, trust me. So we are going to take, I wanted to do something with a Splendid Autumn. So I took this one because this is what my trees are starting to look like here in Maryland. Not full color yet, but some of these yellows and oranges, the maples are turning. And, you know, so it's still a mix of the color and the green, which I really love. I love that in between stage. You've got nice contrast. So again, I was saying, okay, what color should I put on this background? We've got the oranges, the yellows, the reds, the browns. We got a little bit of the blues in there. So I went to my color wheel. I have to admit, I haven't been using this a whole lot. But I said, well, let me see what I can come up with. So I took the predominant colors of these oranges, maybe the pumpkin pie. It kind of stands out for me. So again, I was looking for a complementary color to choose my background. So here, if I put pumpkin pie kind of right in the middle, looking straight across to the other complementary color brought me to boho blue. I said, let me see what that looks like. And I think it looks great because that's pretty much the color that's in the sky in the background where there's not so much of it, but it's going to tie across. It's going to be a good match. So using that color wheel is a good thing. Gives you some new ideas, right? All right. Lots of measurements here, guys. Gotta keep my notes. Got my cheat sheet over here because I would not remember these all together. So I'll put the link to my old video so you can see it with other designer series papers, and you might be inspired for whatever patterns you have. Okay, so here we go. We are going to start with. It's going to be a white card base again. So I always keep a cello bag of bases. They're already scored so that I just have to fold them and burnish those lines. Now, you're going to start with a piece of cardstock that is 4 1/8 tall. I'm going to cut it this way. Oops, that's not fair. 4 1/8 tall by 5 inches wide. And I'm going to be honest, I haven't made this one for a long time. I just took the measurements off my old video. So let's see, make sure I can get it all good. All right, so that's what we're starting with. And our DSP, again, we have to figure out, frame it with your eyes or just cover it up with some cardstock and see how, which part you want to show. And we want this to be 4 3/8 wide by 4 inches tall. So obviously I'm not going to go 4 inches this way. I would only have the tree leaves, which could be nice for a different card, but because I want a scene, I want the panoramic, I'm going to start from the bottom and measure 4 inches up. Okay, and again, like I did with the other card, I might trim just a little bit off the bottom so I get more of those leaves showing on top. Okay, and we want 4 inches tall. Okay, so I think that's nice balance right there. All right, then we want 4 3/8 wide. Okay, thanks, Joanne. I'm glad you like it. 4 3/8. Okay, sorry we're talking in eighths and all, but that's just a little bit less than 4 1/2. If you have 16ths on your ruler, then it's 2 of those little lines over. Okay, right between 1/4 and 1/2. All right, 4 3/8. Here we go. Think twice, measure twice before cutting, right? At least. Okay, there we are. All right, so now we are going to cut this into strips. Now, kind of like what we did on the other one, but this one is going to have different measurements, of course. We are going to have 5 strips on this one. The middle strip's going to be the widest, and then we're going to have 2 on either side that are the same size. So we are actually going to cut 3/4 off of the right side. And put it there. And then another 3/4. These are going to be 2 of the same side strip on the outside. And then we're going to cut 3/4 from the other end as well. Okay. So this way you only really have one measurement to remember. Cut 2 3/4 inch strips. Leave that one here. That's my far left. Then I'll cut another 3/4 here. And that's the next one over. Now this one is wider in the middle. You don't even have to remember the measurement for that because you're just doing 3/4, 2 of them on either side. All right, but just in case you're curious, it's actually 2 3/8. So don't even worry about it. Just do 3/4 and 3/4. Okay, just leave that aside. Now we're going to cut the mat. All right, and then this is going to be 7/8. So it's only going to be a 1/16 of an inch border around each of these panels. So this is going to be 7/8, because remember the other one was 3/4. So we're going to 7/8. 3/4 is 6/8. So we're just doing 1/8 more. All right. So that's going to go there. Then another 7/8. Now, because this doesn't have any seed on it, it really doesn't matter what order you do it. You don't have to go from the other end. I know I need 2 more at 7/8 for over here. So I'm just going to keep cutting my 7/8. And another 7/8. Okay, then what's left will fit on the middle piece. All right, so now don't glue them down yet. I mean, if you want, you can put them on like that, but we're going to make it a little bit more interesting. If you wanted them all to be the same, you could do that. Keep these in the right order so you get that panoramic look. You could put that on your card front, but we're going to make it a little bit more interesting by tapering the height. Okay, so the first one is going to stay as it is. I'm going to move these over to the side. That's the right. There's the left. Okay, and this I'm going to glue. This stays as is. With that very thin border, not much of a border on top and bottom here. Okay, and then keep the outside ones separate. The next ones down, we are going to cut a little off the top and a little off the bottom. So on the DSP, we want to take off a 1/4 inch off the top and a 1/4 inch off the bottom, so that it's going to taper down just a little bit, but yet the middle of the scene is going to stay consistent. So 1/4 inch off the top. And then I'm going to flip it around and do 1/4 inch off the bottom. Okay, so that's going to taper down. Same thing on the other one. So that's a total of 1/2 inch, right? So that means we now have to take 1/2 inch off of the blue mat. Because there's no picture, I don't have to worry about taking it off the top and the bottom. I'm just taking a total of 1/2 inch off. And then that will fit like that. 1/2 inch off this one as well. All right, then I'm going to glue those together. Look how nice the blue looks with those fall colors, like the sky. There and there. Yep, Karen had sneak peeks. Okay, so notice how that is now tapered down. When we attach it to the card, it's going to go down. So then now the next ones, we want to be a little bit shorter yet. So get these little bits out of here. Oh, there's my other guy. So we're going to take off 1/2 inch off the top and the bottom. This was a 1/4 inch off, 1/2 inch off this one. Half off the top, half off the bottom. Now, I've seen some other people do this card and it gets really complicated the way they do the measurements. I like to just kind of think of it more practically. They start with that full piece and then trim it down. Okay, so 1/2 inch. See how it's kind of bigger in the middle and tapering down. So if we took 1/2 inch off the top and the bottom, that means 1 inch off of the mat. Now, if you wanted to, you could have just cut these all separately, but I just like thinking of the concept of how it all gets together. Okay, you could have said, I could have said, all right, cut it 7/8 by 3 1/4. But then you'd have to remember a whole lot of measurements, right? A little bit easier this way, I think, anyway. I mean, that's how kids learn math now, how we learn math. You learn the concept as opposed to just memorizing the details. Okay, we're going to glue those down. And all the glue is not totally dry. You can wiggle it, make it straight. Okay, then those are going on the front of my card. I'm going to turn it over because I see there's a little bit of a lip over here that I don't want to show. So if I turn it over, we don't see that. Now, if you wanted, you could raise the middle one up on dimensional dots to give it a little bit more feeling of like it's turning almost. All right, so I might just do that. Let's see. How many will I need? I don't want it sagging, so I know sometimes I'm overkill with my dimensionals, but don't, like I said, don't want it sagging. Nothing worse than card looking sloppy after you put so much time into other parts of it, right? Okay. And so I like to use my grid paper. Let's see if I move this up a little bit. I have the metric side on right now because the other side is messy. But it doesn't matter because I could still center. This happens to be 7 centimeters on each side. And then I could center this, make sure I have it the right way, Lorraine. Here's my 0. So if I go over here, it's centered from 2 to 2. Okay, and then just like did on the other one, we're going to evenly space these. And then these I'll just glue down. So I'll do the outside ones. Yeah, I don't know. I might just leave them those on there so I make sure I get them even. Okay, I think I'll do the outside ones first. I'm going to leave those on there so I can kind of space them a little bit. Make sure you have them the right way. Anybody crafting along tonight? If you do this card, I always encourage you to share in the comments after the fact, either on the video or on next posts that I will put my pictures up on. Oh, see, I said I'd do the outside ones first. Oh, well, I lied. Not on purpose, of course. I am keeping the other one there for positioning purposes. And I'll put that there. Pretty cool, huh? Oops. Okay, there we go. Ooh, that's a little high. I'll pull it off before the glue dries too much. It helps to twist when you're pulling the glue so you don't tear a layer of the paper. Okay, that's better, I think. Yeah. Okay, so from there you can just add your sentiment, put something on the side if you like. Something like this, I would use just a thin strip. I have plenty of scraps that I could do that with. And I would put it off to the side or maybe just spanning across the middle. I'd put dimensionals underneath here. Or maybe a circle. Circle could work too. Maybe offset it a little bit over here. So lots of options, guys. You can decide what works for you. And I will pull out those others from earlier in case you missed them or just we can compare. So here's the easy one. Right? And there they all are. And then here's the stepped up version. I will put the link in to show you so you can see other versions of this card, this panoramic card. Like I said, it's from 2 years ago, a long time ago. But really some fun designs, and they're all finished off there. So I hope you try these, because lots of fun, beautiful papers to do it with, whether it's a scene or just some fun patterns, doesn't matter. So super easy. If you're like me, you have lots of scraps. For instance, here, this card, I didn't have to cut anything. I had plenty of scraps right here. I was able to do that with. You can even do it multicolored, but I did this one monochromatic, which is also a part on your color wheel. Monochromatic doesn't have to mean that it's the same exact color, but it's within a narrow range on the color wheel. So if you were doing monochromatic with the oranges, you could do the peach pie, pumpkin pie, calypso coral kind of things within that range, or the yellows or greens. Okay, just colors that are within a narrow range on the wheel. So lots of ideas there. And if you have any questions, please ask. Okay, let me see what some of the comments are here. Lydia says she's using Thoughtful Journeys, stamped along. Great. Making 2 of the first one for now. That's okay. That's okay. I gave you warning that the second one's going to be more intricate, more involved. So that's all right. Just stamp on, Lydia, and feel free to share. Okay, we love seeing what you're doing. You might use different paper, and we'll see what it looks like. Or you might have a different tweak on the layout or the card, right? All right. You're welcome, Joanne. Thank you. Hi, okay, Julie. I hope you're stamping, doing some of your own as well. And if I get some done in other designs, I'll try to post them as well. Meantime, I hope you guys have a great day. What else was I? Oh, I was going to show what I did at Cards for Troops today. Again, another real simple card. I like to use up my old retired stuff. So anybody else have the Christmas tree punch? I loved this. This was so quick and easy. A lot easier than some of the die cuts, Karen. Shoot, I struggled with some of those die cuts. That's okay. So I used up some of my old designer paper because I can't use that currently right now. But these were some of the cards we made with some of the plaids. Just punched out 3 Christmas trees, 3 different patterns, put a layer of plaid, a smaller layer of white, 3 trees. The middle one is raised up on dimensionals, and a little message at the bottom. Quick, easy. 3 of us made 40 of them in just about an hour. So, and that meant cutting some of the paper as well. So just kind of fun, right? Take this design with whatever you have. Maybe it's whatever 3 flowers, or even 3 circles, or 3 die cuts, like label punches. 1, 2, 3. Stamp something on there. It could be really, really fun. I hope that's kind of inspiring as well. But we got a lot of cards done. I am going to, over the next couple of weeks, count and look over all the cards I have, do a little quality control, and see what we have to send to the troops. We send them to an organization called United for the Troops, and they get the cards and a lot of other necessities, deodorant, socks, soap, lotions, magazines, books, canned goods, snacks, things that deployed service people can't necessarily get overseas. So some comforts of home get sent in a box that's packed for each individual serviceman or woman, and hundreds of boxes go out just right after Thanksgiving in time for Christmas, and then other times throughout the year too, but the Christmas one is the big send-off. So we like to put shovel bags of maybe 6 to 8 cards, and then they get put in the care packages so that deployed servicemen and women have a birthday card or Christmas card or get well or thinking of you card to send home to somebody. So anyway, it's a great service. We've had many people contributing cards, and so in the next couple of weeks, we're going to actually be packing them up and then sending them off to United for the Troops. If you're interested in learning more about the organization, you can go to unitedforthetroops.com and read all about it. And it's you can make a contribution there if you like. All right. So yeah, get out all the DSP, Suzanne, and go for it. Use it, because there's always great new DSP for new people, for coming out with Stamp It Up. There's it just gets better and better. Look what I got today. My paper pumpkin. Got my paper pumpkin kit. If you're interested, you can stay on for another 5 minutes or so, and I'll open it up and show you what's inside. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to show what's there. So if you have to go, I understand. If you're interested, you want to hang on. Like I said, just 5 minutes. I'll show you what's in here. I saw a sneak peek video earlier today. The cards are really neat. So this, as you can see, coordinates with, let me pull out. Oops, that's not it. I don't have it next to me here. All right, sorry guys. Anyway, the Bird DSP and the Nest of Winter, it's called. So we have a cardinal bird to stamp. Some the stamps say Christmas, and then a little merry, happy holidays, and joyful thoughts to you this season. So something a little bit more generic. Comes with some sticky tape. The spot of the month, every month is a different color, is shaded spruce. And oh, Julie got hers today too. Yep. Okay, and look, it comes with beautifully wrapped with tissue paper. I will save that and reuse. This one came in a special box. Got a little dented through the mail, but that's not Stampin' Up's fault. But special box with the birds on there. Very cute. And then we have, of course, it comes with coordinating envelopes. I believe there are 8 or 10 cards. Anyway, there are 2 different designs, multiples of each. You have some red ribbon. It gives you some dimensional dots. Here are the beautiful envelopes with some foil highlights on there. Can you see that? Oh, there you go. And so pretty with the holly on the front and the flap on the back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so 5 of each card. You have your elements to pop out. And your little chickadees and your cardinals. You have a trifold card here where you can pop this out, and then you have the inside, and then these, the birds and the holly can go around. So that's one of the cards. The other, and then you have your banners for sentiments to go in there. And then the other card is this one. Has a pop-out layer as well. Again, a trifold. And there's lots of alternative things you can do with this. You don't have to do exactly what they say. You can certainly use this on another card. And then you have that foily, shiny element on there as well. All right, so that's the basics of that. I will do some up and show you. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay, here are the finished cards and what they will look like. Okay, put your sentiment on there and your birds and holly on the outside. Layer them up however you like. 10 cards, 5 of each. So fun. That's one of my favorite sets with the birds. Okay, so remember Paper Pumpkin, if you want to get in on that, you have to order it by the 10th of the month. And then you will get your Paper Pumpkin about a week later, week to week and a half later. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Thanks so much for joining on. And yes, it's too late to get this one. You have to order by the 10th of the month to get that month. So to get this one in October, this is the October Paper Pumpkin. It says on the end here. Okay, Nests of Christmas, October 2024. You need to order by the 10th of October. So in order to get the November one, you have to order by the 10th of November. Okay, and it's a subscription, but you can just order 1 month if you like, or you can do a 3-month plan or 6 months or 12 months, or you could do pay as you go. Every month you would just get billed for that month's Paper Pumpkin. You can choose to skip a month if you like. If you kind of see sneak peeks of them and you're thinking, okay, I can skip that one. It's not my style. You just go on your Paper Pumpkin account and you say you want to skip that month. And you can do that multiple times, and you can stop it, of course, anytime you want as well. All right. So have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks so much for joining on, and we'll see you next time. Have a great one. Bye-bye now.